Thank you very much for all of you coming here and all of us that all of our fans that are watching today from our live streaming on Facebook. It's a very, very precious moment, this one, for Free Thinking Zone. It's one of the best moments of the Thinking Zone ever, 1.5 years that we are open, and I'm very, very, very honored for that. Sorry for my English, but your question...
It's good. It's better than my Greek. So.
I can speak in French, but
Yes,
I think nobody will understand us.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can talk together.
So, sorry for the English, but on the Twitter you can have your questions in English or French or Greek, of course, and we can translate to Mr. Cohn Bendit. So, we are welcoming today a legendary public figure of the modern European politics, a great fighter, a man who fought a lot for his dreams and for his beliefs, his principles, and also a great book writer, and European leader of elected European leader 2013, and also co-president of the Eco-Greens Party in the European Parliament. And bienvenue, Monsieur Cohn Bendit. C'est un grand honneur pour nous de vous avoir ici. Ça, c'est pour nous.
Merci.
We have a discussion today for the future of Europe. This is why our hashtag is What Europe in Question. Actually, we're provoking Mr. Cohn Bendit because the title of his book is For Europe. So actually today we're wondering what exactly Europe are we dreaming of, or what kind of Europe do we want, if we want a Europe such as. But it's not my job to do that. I leave you to the hands of the best, the finest Greek youth who have read already your declaration, your call for action from today, and they are very, very eager. I'm warning you, Mr. Cohn Bendit, it's not going to be easy today. So be prepared. Before I pass the mic...
What will be the difficulty?
You will see in a while.
I don't think so. I think
it wasn't easy. This chair is very difficult, the one he sits on.
No.
Okay. So, before I leave you to the hands of Mr. Kokonis from Café Babel. Café Babel is today our moderator, and it has a symbolic meaning because Café Babel is a medium that unites youth from all over Europe, and Mr. Kokonis represents the Greek part. So, one second about the procedure. We are all going, that we are here in this part, at least of the room, to have our questions to Mr. Cohn Bendit. And probably, if the time allows, we are going to accept questions on Twitter. So stay tuned. Our hashtag is What Europe. And I'm giving the speech to Yorgos. Thank you very much for all you being here.
Dear Mr. Cohn Bendit, welcome. It is a great honor and pleasure for us in Café Babel to coordinate such a youth panel with you. Over a decade, Café Babel contributes to the European project with media projects in all over Europe. You know that. We have cooperated in the past. It is unfortunate to have a panel for Europe and having to ask you about Greek politics as the one who leads
You can do what you want. Greek sport.
Yeah, I wish I could.
Okay.
So you come in Athens in very difficult circumstances. And my first question is, how do you see this situation with public television, with the shutdown of public television? And if you're afraid that as a result of austerity, if austerity is going to destabilize Europe instead of stabilizing?
Well, I first, my answer is the decision by Samaras to close ERT has nothing to do with austerity. Because, you know, ERT is paid by the contribution of the people. And even if he closed ERT, he can't put the money to organize the water collection because it's paid for a television. And it's a public service. Now, you can discuss if this public service was good. I think if 3 weeks ago I would have come here and asked you, how do you fund ERT? You would be, if you are honest, you would be, I don't like it. Now, honestly, because a lot of people thought like this. But you're right, the decision to close it is impossible. This you can do. This is a manner that you see by Putin, you see by in Iran. I hope now that after the election a little improvement is possible, but you see Ahmadinejad, or you see it by Orban in Hungary. So I think that the way how Samaras act was a non-democratic act, and for this we have to denounce it. Now, the discussion, the real interesting discussion after, what's the difference between a state television and radio and a public service radio and television? And this is a big difference, you know. This is a big difference because we don't want a radio, well, we don't want you. The Greek people should want what they want. But I think in my opinion, you know, a public service is not a service for the government. It's a service, it's a radio and television who is not commercial, so it's not depending by the mood of the market, but it has a cultural, political function in a democratic state. And if you take the Charter for Fundamental Rights by the European Union, there is definitely written in it that public service of media is one of the pillars of a democracy. So this is my answer.
Thank you. So I will give the floor to the rest of the bloggers. I would like to tell me your name and make a short presentation of your media. Takis Karagiannis.
Hi, Mr. Cohn Bendit. I'm Takis Karagiannis, representing Protagon.gr. Alexis Tsipras, Greek opposition leader, used to talk about an alternative solution, talking about a plan B. What could be that, in your opinion? And what do you think about Syriza's soapbox? Tonight, Mr. Tsipras speaks in front of his audience.
Well, I don't know Tsipras personally. I don't know him. I know now his partner, for example, in France, Mélenchon and things like this. Well, the problem is, in life, it doesn't exist a plan B. It exists always a reality that you want to change. You can't jump out of reality and think, no, I have a plan B, I have a world B. You know, it's a world 300. I live in a world 300, and in this world, I organize everything differently. It's okay. You can do it, you know, but then you will see that it's not the real world, you know, it's Peter Pan, you know, living somewhere in the world. So I would say, look, what we as a European Greens, what we want to do is we want to have a strategy where we reunify the south and the north of Europe. And reunifying, putting together the south and the north of Europe, you have to stop with one, you can have all the discourse you want, you know, but we have to stop to this. The north of Europe say to the south of Europe, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And the south of Europe say to the north, you have to give me that, you have to give me that, you have... It can't function like this. You know, we have really to rethink Europe from the north and from the south together. Because it's true, you know, my simple vision of the world, you know, I'm a very simple-minded man. My vision of the world today is confronted by the ecological, financial, economic crisis that we live. Europe is doing badly. Europe has the wrong strategy. The problem is, if you want to tackle the ecological, economic, and financial crisis, you need Europe. You can't do it as a state, nation state alone. Neither Greece, nor France, nor Germany. In 30 years, none of the European member states will be member of the G8. Neither Germany, neither Great Britain, neither. So we have to have a very simple decision. All together. Together means south and north and east and west and high and up, with God or without God. We have to find a common perspective for a common good. What is Europe?
Via a coalition government?
Well, the problem of a national government, you know, is also another problem. You know, we have to accept that democracy is shit. But we have to accept that nobody finds something better. Now, if democracy is like it is, then you have the result of democracy. And I tell you, you have this coalition now. I don't like it. But I can tell you another coalition that I wouldn't like. It's, for example, the coalition between Samaras and the far right. You know, then I would, yes, you know. So this is also a possible danger. So we have to be responsible, because the coalition is the expression of the division inside the Greek society. It's not an invention of the politician. It's a complete, the mass is by the political party and inside the society. So this is the big difficulties. You know, a lot of time, you know, when I talk to Greece, and, you know, I really push hard, you know, to attack, to argue against the politics of the Commission, the Troika here in Greece. Okay, when I'm in Brussels. When I'm here, you know, I say, look the political system. The political system is the result of a participation of this society to this political system, client system. That the parties, you know, you had a party who has been elected at a majority, and how many thousand of parents, aunt, niece were state functionary in the next 4 months. You know, and this is a story not of 3 months, 5 months, it's for years and years you had this. So the Greek society also has to question themselves. Why did we allow this?
Hi, I'm Vasilis and I blog on ilawyer.blogspot.com. My question has to do with the work of institutions, of the European institutions. And there is a widespread conviction in the Greek society that when one cannot find justice at national level, has to apply at the European level. My question is, from your experience as a member of the European Parliament, is this sufficient? Does it work? May the citizen find his right at European level?
I can tell you a story. When I was first elected in the European Parliament, it was 1994, first time. One of the first battles that we had in the European Parliament was the battle against the Greek government and the Greek law, about the Greek law that you put your religion on your passport. ID. And we in Europe say this is impossible. This is not democratic, you know. My name is Mr. Dupont. Why do I have to put on mine that I believe in God or I don't believe in God? You know, even this, you couldn't say you don't believe in God. You have to put a religion even if you don't want a religion. Yeah. It was a fight for, second fight.
And if you are Orthodox or Catholic.
And if you are Orthodox of Catholics and things like that. And you couldn't find justice here. And it was the pressure of the European Union to say you can't continue like. Second fight, the right of civil disobedience not to go to the army. It was also a European fight against the nationalism in Greece. No, so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. No, I would never say, you know, if you have a problem in Greece or in France, go to Europe. No, you don't solve the problem on European level, but sometimes later we had now the European Charter of Fundamental Rights, and sometimes you can, in the name of the Charter of Fundamental Rights, you know, for example, the European Charter of Fundamental Rights is the only fundamental rights charter who has in it the freedom of sexual orientation. Neither in the French Constitution, neither in other. It is a level where you can fight something. And I think in Greece, it would be a big fight. I want to see in the Greek Constitution the freedom of sexual orientation. You know, good morning. we can have a good discussion with the Orthodox Church, yeah, and how long we will reach it. So sometimes you can, and sometimes if you see the political problem that we have, the neoliberal orientation of Europe, a lot of fight you can't win. Okay?
Okay. I'm Irene Kostaki from maga.gr, which is a web radio, web magazine, and web TV. My question is, we have most of the countries have set a kind of a milestone in German elections in September, and you have said in a previous discussion we had in Brussels 2 months ago that in order for Greece to benefit from the forthcoming elections in Germany, that we'll have Merkel again, like it's kind of sure we will. We need to change politically, socially, and economically. This kind of success stories served by Mr. Samaras this month, do you think that it has to do something with this change, or was it real? What's your general feeling about that?
Well, of course, I don't know how the German election will end. You know, my crystal ball, you know, is empty, so I can't. But if you see the evolution, if you can read the poll and the mood in Germany, it's more or less sure. Now it's previsible. It's that exactly. Merkel will maintain chancellor, and I think she will make a coalition with the Social Democrats. I think, not for sure, but it's a main possibility.
Depends on whether the FDP is going to enter the parliament.
No, because it's not. I tell you, the FDP can enter in the parliament, but then Merkel will lose 3%. So the result of Merkel and the FDP will be the same than today. You know, today the Merkel has 39, 40%. The FDP 4. If the FDP has 6, Merkel will be at 37. The result of them will be the same. At the moment, the center right or the neoliberal coalition has between 43 and 45%. The Greens and the Social Democrats has 40. And then you have the left, Tsipras, you know, you have with 7%. So together they have a little bit more. It's not impossible that Merkel will re-win with the liberals. And then she has to gain a little bit more, what she doesn't have at the moment. But
she already loses to the Eurosceptic party.
Yes, they have 2 or 3%. Also, it's possible that's crucial that so they are our friend, you know. The crazy party taking, until they continue to take some percent from Merkel, it's okay for us, you know. But so this will be the result. The result will be that if the Social Democrats enter in government, of course there will be a shift. There must be. They must prove that they are useful, you know. I know you would say that it's sometimes with the Social Democrats it's very complicated to think that they want to be useful. But imagine, you know, imagine we play John Lennon, imagine, and then we dream. Okay? The problem is that you can't compare the situation in Germany with the situation in Greece or even in France. The success story from Germany, for the German economy, is a success story linked to the decentralization, federal structure of Germany and the structure of the German economy. The German economy and little and middle enterprise are spread all over the country, west. They had a problem with the east, but this is another question. And coming from this, you know, you have to say Germany is a very dynamic economy, very unjust, very unequal. You know, there's a big injustice, a big difference between the one who has a lot and the bottom of the society. But the bottom of society is much higher than the bottom of the society here. The problem of Greece, it's a not dynamic society, but as unequal or more unequal and more unjust. To recover in Greece, you can't recover only by a push in Greece. Only to save money, the state, austerity or responsibility budget, if you want, don't say austerity, you don't give a push. I don't say this. I don't understand anything in economy. But if I read a Nobel Prize winner like Krugman or Stiglitz, you know, who won the Nobel Prize in economy, so they are not as foolish as me, you know, a little bit less, you know, they say you can't continue like this. So how could be the push for Greece? And you can have the same demonstration now for Italy, Spain. It's only a European push. A European push would mean that you have a completely different approach to European budget. So what I hope that if the Social Democrats come in power in Germany with the thing, there will be a shift in the position of the German government, you know, towards, you know, the investment to the European countries and to the South. This is my idea, and I think that if we can push, because there the German society is open towards what we call Green New Deal, a green, you know, economic push, a green investment. You know, also here, you know, Greece depend by 90% is importation of energy. You know, I know you have no sun in Greece, you have no wind. You know, it's much more difficult than in Sweden or Finland. You know, I know, but even, you know, Greeks are intelligent. The few sun that they have, they could do with it something. So I think that this is a perspective, you know, for this country who could really push the economy in another direction. This is my hope. You want another question? Yes.
About you didn't okay.
Sorry.
Hello, my name is Stefania Xivia and I am from the Politia 2.0 project. It is basically a social platform in order to reinvent democracy in Greece and Europe. We are starting in the next months a series of constitutional workshops around Greece and deliberative polls in order to start a bottom-up creation of a new constitution for Greece. My question is, considering the growing democratic deficit in Europe, and as your book says, the need to abolish political parties, do you believe in such processes to rebuild constitutions around Europe with the active participation of citizens and the use of social media? And secondly, to what extent do you think that the European Parliament and the European institutions are ready to support such innovative approaches to democracy?
First, this is of course provocative, because a democracy can't live without political parties. If you want, my feeling is I can't stand any more political parties. You know, this is my feeling. You know, even knowing that we need them. You know, no, I think it's absolutely crucial to make the debate of constitutional debate. You know, because in constitutional debate, you put in the input. You know, is your fantasy of a society. And then it's the tools. How could a society work? You know, and we have a group in the European Parliament, Spinelli. In this group, we will propose next week a new European constitution, and to put it in debate. What I think with the bottom up, you know, is you have to make a proposition. And the people has to react. I don't believe, you know, come on, people, tell me something about the culture. Everybody will say something, but you don't have a framework then. What you do discuss how you decide what. So I think the best thing is to take a constitution, to take the European Charter of Fundamental Rights, even make a debate. The European Charter of Fundamental Rights, and which fundamental rights are realized or not in Greece. That would be interesting. It would be interesting to compare. And what is better in Greece? Perhaps you have fundamental rights that I don't know at the moment, which is much better than in the European Charter. But then you have a debate. You have a debate. So, but I think that your approach through internet to push this debate is absolutely crucial, because you have to involve part of the society in this debate. Not only politicians make their ideas, but because the next Greek constitution is the constitution for the next generation. It's crucial. You have in a certain moment in life, you completely decide for the future of the generation and in how will be the framework of the political debate. So I completely agree with your approach.
Hello, Giorgos Tsaknias from Team Art, which is a blog about arts and culture and ideas.
I thought so. By art.
This is not a tattoo.
No, by art. I thought that art has something to do with culture.
So it's more or less easy to change laws and institutions if there's a political will and the timing is right, but it's far less easy to change people's minds. There's no fast-track way to do that. What do you think, what's your opinion, what can be done by people or by groups of people who support European unification towards a federal Europe on dealing with the issues of national stereotypes? And I'm referring to both the self-image of each nation and the image of the other. So that the idea of federal Europe can be accepted by the masses, large groups of people, and not just a few pro-European intellectuals or politicians. In other words, how can we make people feel comfortable with the idea of relinquishing national sovereignty?
Well, there are two things. My political correct answer on sovereignty is that with the globalization and the market, the globalization had destroyed national sovereignty.
But we don't know it.
Well, we know it, but we don't want to accept it, this reality. It's, the problem always when I discuss about Europe, is that people say, well, to me often, well, you are for Europe because you don't have a nationality. It's true, I'm born in France, German parents, I'm a German Jew, a French German Jew, I'm a bastard of a lot of things, so it's easier to say I'm for Europe. But it's not like this. I think that the idea of a nation state, a democratic nation state, was a state that protects you, gives you social insurance, protects your sanity, gives you school, also protects you against aggression, etc. And organize your economy. Now, most of these things, you can't do it at the national level anymore. It's why I say if, the argument that I said before in 30 years there won't be any European state in the G8, it means all we are able to understand that a certain European way of life and a certain social model, even if it's attacked today by the neoliberals. If you go to Texas, you take a Texas young woman or man and take them to Europe, and they go to Europe and they will say, what, Europe is social, it's the same. That Obama wanting to Medicare for everybody, the debate one in the United States was, it's socialism, it's Stalinism, a Medicare for everybody. So you see that we have a certain level of social identity in Europe, even if it's in a bad shape. I wouldn't deny it now, yeah? So it's an idea of civilization. And now I come to the identity. I would love, if I would have money, I would love to give in order, take 5 young European film director and 5 Greek, and do it in every country. I need a lot of money. And I say, do me in 10 minutes your image of Greece. And the Greek tell me.
There is a project.
Yes, I know.
Story dog.
Yes, I know. But that, to do this, that we can compare, not discuss. But then you would see, I don't know, a young Italian making a film about Greece, and or a young Greek making a film about Finland. He would say, oh, it's cold, and half of the year is you don't see the sun. I don't know. But, this would be an interesting thing to understand what we don't understand in identity. And I think this would be a main project. I think our difficulty, but it's general, that in the globalized world, the identity, the reality of a country has completely changed. But the identity of what we are has not changed. When I debate in France, to ease the Greek, not to, when I debate in France, and I say, look, in 30 years, I make this, you will be, in 30 years, the reality of France in the globalized world would be the same that the reality of Luxembourg in Europe. Now, you can't make the decision to want to be Luxembourg. It's a nice, boring little country. If you want to live, it's a rich country, it's perfect. But is this the dream of the French? To be the Luxembourg of the world? No. And if you want to have a great nation, if you want to have a nation who have given a lot, terrible thing, colonialism and thing, but a lot also of French Revolution, the idea. Then, if you want to play this role in the world, continue, you can do it only through Europe. And this is interesting thing. You asked me on the Constitution, but also on the reality fight in Europe. If you talk to French people, they say, we have the French Revolution, the Declaration of Human Rights. Perfect. Tell me, when in France the women get the right to vote? Not 1789, no, 1945, 150 years after the French Revolution. No, so the big French Revolution, human rights for everybody except, okay, it's a minor problem, except for the woman, This shows you how difficult, how long changes come in the society, and also in the... Okay.
Hi, George Salik from Neolea GR, one of the most popular youth forums in Greece. You answered my question to Yorgos, but I have to ask you something else.
Okay.
The unemployment of youth people reaches at the moment the 26%. How you can reverse the whole situation and bring economic growth back again?
First, I don't know. No, because I don't want to pretend. I have some idea. Because, I hate politicians. Say, you do this and this and this, and then the problem is solved. And you don't know. It's try and error. In a Greece. So, I talked about the ecological transformation. I think a Green New Deal will create jobs. Second, I think that you have to rethink the relation in education and preparing and the possibility to work. And I think for the moment I should have a European budget who say we have for every young people under 25 or under 27 €500 to learn in a Greek or in a European enterprise to make practical education in work. So I think this is an immediate solution, because you don't create jobs like this, you know. If the problem is that the situation of the Greek economy or the French economy is so bad that it needs time to recreate, because the problem is a lot of time our economics are relating to old model of industry. You know, you see it in Europe, car industry. The car industry are projecting that they will build 3 million less car than why? Because the people buy less car. You can't force everybody to have 2 cars. You know, you can't. So our industry, our economy relay sometimes to wrong thing. So we have to help a new startup. I believe that a lot of young people have imagination, but they don't have the minimum of investment to start something. And I think that this should be also that European Investment Bank guarantee the startup investment for initiative of young people. So this is the 2 or 3 measures that one will immediately propose. And then of the other side, we have to really rethink what will be the economy of the future, on what you will rely. If, for example, but it's not for everybody, young people, if you think about biological agriculture, you can create a lot of jobs. You know, you can.
Especially in Greece, yes.
In Greece, yes. You know, and why Greek? Comment on dit des olives? Olives. Why Greek olives are manufactured in Italy? What is the reason? Can you explain it to me?
Yes, because they in Italy they
package it.
Yes, and they sold it. Yeah, and they sell it. And they sell it in massive amounts.
Big markets.
Yes, but could the Greek don't do it?
We can go in quality.
No, but you can go in quality and packaging. Also, this quality, you know. Also, a lot of things you could do it. It's a division of work in Europe who is not rational. So I just want to say that if you go to a certain form of agriculture, you would create a lot of jobs. But I don't want to say that every young man or woman in Athens had to go on the country like Pol Pot and work on. No. It's not my position.
Hi, my name is Alexakos. I represent my blog. It is not. Sorry, my name is Konstantinos Alexakos. I represent my own blog. It's the problem with progressives is that you have so many layers in modern world to explain and to address all your considerations, and then try to make that into a policy, and then communicate it to voters and people. That in this life, half of the time you lose the time that the voter has given to you. You cannot explain the politics of fear that you have now in Europe that are expressed through austerity, and how short-sighted Merkel's approach has been to a European problem, as you rightly said in the parliament again and again. There is, of course, I'm not a Eurosceptic, of course, I'm not a conservative, but I'm starting to question this. If Europe and Troika and everybody else was so for reform for Greece, why, after the first 6-7% of budget reductions and blah, 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 and all of that part of the effort, why didn't we relate every installment of the bailout on reform rather than on budgetary concerns? There's starting to be questions on how far does Europe really have a plan for Europe, And if the reforms being asked for Greece, which I believe that we need to do them, are part of a bigger scheme. Because if we only reform whatever we think about Greece without being connected to a bigger plan, it's a foolish exercise.
I agree with your approach. He asked me on coalition, on the problem of democracy, you know, and sometimes I don't have really the answer how to connect this with Europe. You know, what is the intelligence of Merkel? Merkel in Germany got to the point that she said to the German, don't be afraid of the euro because the euro is German. If you call it the euro of the Deutschmark, it doesn't change.
Finish Europe.
Exactly. No, the problem is, with this attachment, she wins election. So,
But she destroys Europe.
if she destroys Europe, there is a very good, I don't know if there is an editor here, there's there is a very good book by a German sociologist, Ulrich Beck, about Europe.
Yes.
Huh? No, for Europe. No. It's Ulrich Beck. It's in French. It says "Non à l'Europe allemande." It's against German Europe, and he explained it very good. You know that.
Machiavelli. It's called.
Yes, Machiavelli is. I don't know if it's been translated.
Well, I don't know. That's what it is.
It was yes, and the problem is exactly there. We are in the construction of Europe. We are in this contradiction, and if you want the easiest way to understand, the German will say, we are for Europe, if it's a German Europe. The French say, we are for Europe, if it's a French Europe. The Dutch say, we are for Europe, if it's a Dutch Europe.
The Greeks say.
And the Greeks say, we are for Europe, it's a Greek, you know. And in this contradiction we are. We have to break this. You have to break this. And it's not easy because we have to win and lose election on this debate. And I think that at the moment, the only explanation, easy explanation, and then they would say, okay, the people on the far right say, go back to your national identity. And if you, on this level, it's easy. You say, look, on your national identity, if tomorrow you would have only a national government, not linked to Europe, whatever they do, you know, they couldn't pay, you know, the civil servant of all the country. They couldn't. So what would they do? If Tsipras tomorrow is prime minister, he doesn't want the euro, he doesn't want this politics, how do they pay Earth and this? How? He can't. So he must have an authoritarian way of governing. Because it's a completely, you know, he promising that he can't, you know, okay, he can print money, but at some time printing money, you know, it's a dead end. So we have to explain to the people that, and this is what I try for now, an hour here, or I don't know, you know, to explain that how could we together, you know, propose, you know, a change who change also the behavior of the Germans, then the behavior of the Greeks, of the Italian, of the French. This is the debate, and this is the political debate that we need today. Yes.
There's a question from Twitter on how does the manifesto puts together with Ulrich Beck's concerning the Erasmus.
Yes, well, okay, Erasmus is an initiative that Ulrich Beck and we have together. It's a little bit what I said before on the youth, you know. We are thinking, you know, Erasmus are for students. And we want a form of Erasmus for everybody. So not only students, unemployed, but also taxi driver, to have the idea. We have 500 million people in Europe. Imagine, we could mobilize money that every year 1 million of people between 18 and 30 would work or study in another European country. 1 million. So imagine this, what it's create of a European identity. And it is another thing. If you have 1 million young people going in another European country, you have statistically at least 10% of them will fall in love in another country. So no, but it's statistic. It's
not only 10%.
Not only. It's better, So what does it mean? Does it mean that more and more you will have European identity? This is my big fight at the moment. Look, imagine also, you have a Dutch young woman. Their parents came from Turkey. Dutch woman, Dutch, make law study in Amsterdam. She wants to make 1 year Erasmus in Montpellier, France. There she meets a French young man. Their parents are from Algeria. He's French. They fall in love. They have a child. What is this child? Is he French? Is he Dutch? Is he Turk? Is he Algeria? He is European. And we fight here for European nationality without a national one. And if you have this Erasmus for etc., you will more and more young people, generation will start to think as European, because the national orientation will be less and less. And this is, for me, a figure of the future generation in 50 or 60 years.
In your book, along with Mr. Verhofstadt, you are pledging an urge for more and more Europe. So aren't you afraid that this constant urge to reduce the political impact of national governments is going to steer nationalistic and totalitarian voices and political parties along the European countries?
Mr. Bendit, this is the youngest blogger we have today, 17.
18. You're always reducing my age.
Okay. But the question was good. On one side, you're right. And this is also the contradiction where we are in. It's always, we are turning now around the same problem. The people, how they get Europe today, they say Europe is not able to help us to come out of the crisis. And now they say it would be easier with your national government. Now, what is Europe? And this is a problem. I always, when you have a minister coming after a European summit, this crazy thing, Mercedes in, some governments going out in a building in Brussels, 3 hours later they come out, say everything is solved, we have found the solution. Two months later, Mercedes in, government in, we have found the solution. 2 months later, Mercedes, it's a game, So, but then Brussels has decided. And then I always say, who is Brussels? Brussels, is it the mannequin piss? Is it the mayor of Brussels? Because Brussels is a decision by the governments or the nation. They participate, and Brussels is the European Commission. Now you have a tendency of this cold technocracy, and the image of the cold technocracy, the most terrible image, where there's no political control, is the Troika. The Troika is the invention of madness. Yes, because it is. You put 3 institutions. They send a man or woman to Athens or to another country, and you do this and that. Okay, but they are good propositions because they are bad propositions. This is not my problem. My problem, who control them? Who are the democrat? If you have a government, the government say, I want to do this, and the parliament debates, and they say, we agree, we don't agree.
Don't the governments of state have control over those institutions that
about the Troika? No. This is the madness. The troika is because you have the FMI, IMF, because you have ECB and you have the Commission. It's, ECB and IMF are out of the world, a democratic world, and so what we have to learn now, is to say how we get, and this is what we try, a new democratic legitimacy, in the European Union. Because I don't want to say that Europe is not democratic, because the governments are democratically elected, but the institution, the work of the institution are completely now out of the democratic control. And this is the big question. On the other side, the big problem of nationalism, is it is irrational. And nationalism, the Greek nationalism is not invented by the crisis. You had the Greek nationalism since 45.
But it was strengthened.
It came out stronger through the crisis. Absolutely right. Crises are mobilizing in a part of society the baddest extreme feelings that you have. It's a fear, but
politics of sentiment. They count on the sentiment and on the.
Yes, but they say what is interesting is not okay. I would agree, but then which sentiment? Anti-Semitism. It's Christian. It's the base. One of the base is Christian anti-Semitism. They killed Jesus. The Jews killed Jesus. Well, but this is you had in Poland in '48. You had a survey with more than 50% anti-Semite. There were no Jew anymore. 2000. So you couldn't say they are anti-Semite because they know a Jew. They didn't know a Jew. But the Christian religion, it was very deep. And because of this institution, don't talk about this. Don't try to say what is wrong, what was in. So racism is the fear. But it is always also an image that how I am should be the world. So if I'm white, the world should be white. Are better than the others. And this is a very deep sentiment. And if all the society, also in school and in the trade unions, I remember a strike by the English trade unions in the 60s, or 70s, where they strike, the train drivers strike because they didn't want to be with the black man to drive a train. So it's not only the other, it's deep in the society. And in moment of crisis, all this sentiment, all the come up. So it needs a very big mobilization. Now the problem is that a lot of government, but not only reactionary government, also left government, mobilized in a moment of crisis against asylum seekers, against a certain type of migrants, because, they say, so it's not our fault. To find somebody who is, and then you have the, if you would ask the majority of the Greek about Guantanamo, they would say, it's horrible, it's terrible, Obama should shut it. And you ask, how do you find the camp for asylum seekers and kids outside Athena? How the live is there? Oh, this is okay. No, it's like Guantanamo, because there you have your migrants here in Ifor, you have a lot of problem in Athens, real or not real, and then a government in difficulty, mobilize also against these people. This is a very complicated thing, but the problem is, if I would be persuaded that the national solution is the better one, I would defend it.
Hi, I'm Mikis Milonas, the editor of parapolitiki.com. I would like to go back to the first question about Syriza. We talked about the Plan B a bit generally, and I would like to have your opinion about Syriza's specific Plan B. Alexis Tsipras believes that the solution for the European crisis it's a European conference about national debts around Eurozone. Similar to the one held in 1953 for a post-war Germany. Do you believe that this is a realistic proposal, and do you support this demand?
I think that well, the problem is, ideally, why not? But then you need a German government, you need a French government, you need a Finnish government, a Dutch government, who wants to do something like this, to say like, why in 55? I think it's 55. It started, okay, I think, why it was possible? Because the American decided that they need, in the new East-West conflict, a rebuild of Germany. So they imposed this thing. It was not an easy decision everybody will give in. They'll say, okay, in building the NATO, in building this, in the new conflict with the Soviet Union, you know, Germany will have to pay Germany a big part, so you have to renegotiate the German debt, okay? Now we have another situation. It's not only one country. You have to renegotiate the debt of every country, because it doesn't exist one country who has no debt. It's not only the Greek, it's more or less. So I think the proposition who is on the table, who say, put a communitarization of part of the debt, 60%, over 60%, and issue Eurobonds so that you can ease the interest rate for every country. You know, the problem is that a lot of people, and Merkel and others, say the problem of the countries are the debt. And it's why the interest rates are so good, so high, because the budget, you know, is like it is. Well, Europe has 93% of debt of European interior revenue, as debt. And the middle interest rates in Europe all over is 5%. The United States have 98%. The interest rate is 1.5. Japan has 200%. The interest rate is 0.8, say 1%. So it can't be the debt, what it is. The market believes that there is a state. And because there is a state, even they have debt, the state could end, and if California is bankrupt, what it was, it doesn't matter. You have the federal budget. No, the European federal budget is 1% of the GDP. This was the American federal budget in 1932. It was the first time that they have a federal budget was percent. In 45, it was 7% of the GDP. Today, the American federal budget is 23% of the GDP. 23. And it's why, you know, they have a real state who is capable, who is able. And it's why we say we want the United States of Europe. We want a federal state. A federal state is not a centralist state. It's a state where, under the umbrella of the federal state, you have a budget where you can solve the position. And so I say, if Syriza wants his international conference, he can only have it in a perspective of a federal European state, because all have the interest to solve the problem.
But they do not believe in this.
Who? Syriza. This is a contradiction. He said, look, how do you get all this, to say, I want an international conference. I go to the international conference, hello, I'm Syriza. German now We release the debts of all the European. Oh, Syriza, I was waiting for you. It is my idea, you know. It's exactly what I want. And the Finnish say, oh, yes, I want it, you know. So it doesn't function like this.
At this point, we are moving to people who are here. I'm sorry, we'll have to give first the questions to the bloggers and the journalists, and then to... Yes, but they are already declared their participation after that, if we have time. And
we have time.
Okay. Afterwards, we may.
How long before I die?
You have plenty of time until that.
No, I want to eat something. Come on. Come on.
Necessary thanks to the Academy and my family. No, I want to thank the Eco Greens for this event and the European Parliament for making this happen and helping me bring Mr. Cohn Bendit here at this small shop.
Before I die.
Before, but we will bring you many other times. So this is a warning.
You warn me all the time. It will be difficult. It will be hard. It's very nice.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So then definitely you have to come again. Definitely you have to come again. I also want to thank Metechmio Publications and Pataki Publications for helping me also. And we will start with questions from other guests we have, starting from Drasi Party, Liberal Party, or whatever, Liberal Democrat Party.
Monsieur Cohn Bendit, the question is that definitely more European Europe is the way out of crisis and a better life for the citizens. Having said that, do you think that a coalition of parties, political parties that is, serves this idea? And do you think that ALDE and Eco Greens have a possibility of making this coalition? And the second question is, I don't know if you're aware, but we are on the D-Day today of waiting to see if we have elections in Greece or not. And taking the assumption that there is a huge polarization between Syriza and Nea Demokratia, Samaras party, how those parties like Greens and Liberal Democrats could have a fight in order to represent themselves in the parliament. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the government coalition will decide, but I would find it completely crazy to push for new election now in Greece. I mean, it's not the base.
They are doing so.
Do you think so?
This is my information until now.
That they want new election?
That they are pushing it so far to go to new elections.
Okay.
No one is going back.
I don't know. I don't know.
Trapped in extreme positions.
Yes, but I think that okay. Now I can solve this problem. I mean, I don't know. Yes, I would say that if there is new election, I think a lot of parties will have to think about in which form they want to go to election. And I know that every party thinks he is the best. And if you say the situation of the Greek Greens, you know, they are split at I don't know how many groups, you know, this won't be the solution. For example, but really I'm inventing. I think that the difference was big between PASOK and Dimar is, are they really so big to go not to go together in this extreme situation?
They want to buy time. Ideally, they wouldn't want elections.
Yes, but if I say perhaps there won't be election. I just want to ask him the question if there are election. You know, the same the Greens and others. And don't know if they can go with the Liberals. It depends on a lot of things that I can't solve. But you're right in your question to say if every small piece of the cake is going alone, in this election, everybody will lose. Everybody will lose.
They are behaving like national countries.
They are behaving like national countries, and they are behaving like childs. There is no responsibility for the common good. I think that you have to create a situation in Greece where the result of the election can't be, at the end, a coalition between Samaras and the far right. This is the biggest danger. Now, what Tsipras will do, I don't know. But if there is only Tsipras and Samaras and the far right, I imagine the result. If you have other political force, of course not as strong at the moment as Syriza, Tsipras, Syriza and Nea Demokrasia, but they are still existing at force, you can rebalance the political, the parliament. But this means a lot of responsibility of the political actors. And if you believe in God, go to church to pray. If you don't, I don't know where you should push in this direction.
Hello, sir. I'm representing the Greek entrepreneurs, so I have to ask you about economy and this stuff that I think you don't like it very much to talk about. You're not an economist, but anyway, there are some people in Greece, I'm one of them, that believe that entrepreneurs can save the Greek economy in ways bailouts and austerity programs cannot do it. Please tell us your opinion and what you suggest to the Greek government that they should do about having economic growth and financial development.
I suggest the Greek government to put a plan with Greek entrepreneur and to go with this plan with Greek entrepreneur to the European Commission. To say, look, okay, put aside the debate now of austerity and this, we know responsibility of budget, we don't forget it, we put it by side. Now, the entrepreneur and perhaps other entrepreneurs say, what are the need to relaunch the economy? And this should be the debate. And I agree with you that a lot of entrepreneurs who have an idea what they want to produce in Greece have an idea, and then they will say, we have a lack of finance the bank has not playing their role. We save the bank, but the banks don't put their money in the economy. And this is exactly the debate that we have, the Greek government with other governments have to put on the table of the European Council and the European Commission. And put your entrepreneur intelligent with European entrepreneur also to push in the direction. Be part of the civil society who say we can't continue like this, and we are entrepreneur. It's not only the trade union, they are lazy, they don't want to work, etc. So forget them. We are entrepreneur. We know how we can create jobs. But this is the lack of financing that we have, and how can we now overcome this? This would be my advice.
Thank you. Mr. Cohn Bendit, my question is this. In Greece, and I suppose in other European countries as well, we have two kinds of Eurosceptics. We have the right-wing, let's say, Eurosceptics, who are against Europe because they are nationalists, less or more. And also we have the left-wing Eurosceptics, who are Eurosceptics because they believe that the European Union does wrong all those things that you have described that it does wrong. So to these people, to the left-wing Eurosceptics, who ideally would like a unified Europe, but not this Europe that we have today, because they believe it works in a wrong way and it does not actually achieve the goals for which it was established. What would you say to them to make them stop being Eurosceptics and join the struggle for a unified Europe?
well, to this left Eurosceptics, I say, look, the argument, I'm for Europe, but only if it's a right Europe, I would say, look, you will never get it. You will never get it. And and then I will debate with them the story of nation building. You had nation building of France, or even a lot of nation state. They weren't democratic at the beginning. It was an idea of a nation, but not how to fulfill the criteria of a democratic state. I gave the example of France from the French Revolution to 45, the right of vote of the woman. The Turkish had it long before the French, so that we have to discuss, that of course at the beginning you create something that you say we have to now to continue to build it. It's a process. Europe, nation state building, democratic, lasted 200 years. If you take the French Revolution at the beginning of the democratization, Europe has built something in 50 years. What is 50 years? I always say to I have always a joke when I talk on this. I say, look, I'm born in 45. I was made, at the first biological possibility after the landing of the American and the Brits in the Normandy. So your history, 44, biology, it lasts 9 months. So, okay. So I'm born in April 45. Now imagine, coming out in April 45, I talk to my parents. And I will tell them, look, in 50 years, there won't be any border between France and Germany. There won't be any soldier between France and Germany and Italy and Benelux state. My parents will say, we have a problem. We have a problem. He talks much too early and say nonsense. So we have really to put these people the sense of history, how something is built. It's a very childish thing. I want a good Europe. Amen. Yes, I too, But how you construct with the contradiction of the Europe. So the only question is, at the end, and I said it in 10 different things today, can we match the crisis as a nation state? If yes, the European construction should stop. If not, we have to go forward. And this is the only answer. This is the only answer. The rest is literature. Look, I will die.
We have two more questions.
Two more questions, but because I can't, at the end, I don't know anymore.
He has also to speak in television, so he needs
So George from Spam Radio.
Okay, good morning. I hope you will still be alive after my question.
Yes,
I strongly believe in the European vision. I'm not very optimistic, but I hope I will find my hope somewhere in the near future. I know that you have a crystal ball, but it's empty right now. But I believe that you are a beautiful mind, so you have a lot of things in your mind. So I would like to tell me, what's your vision for Europe in the next 5 years? So simple.
I think that in the next 5 years, you won't recognize Europe. I think that we will be forced to, through the crisis, to go for a new idea of the Europe of energy, renewable. You will have, in 5 years, a Europe bank supervision. You will have in 5 years a Europe common debt fund with Eurobonds. So it's what I say, you won't recognize it. I think the thing with the debt and the Eurobonds will start, whatever the result will be after the German election.
So it's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. Like everything is a matter of time. The problem is it's too slow. The problem why we always to have wait. You know, this is a good critique, but I think that everybody feels, you know, that we have to go in that direction. There are a lot of alternatives how to do it, but this is my idea. And you will have a completely new feeling for Europe of culture. You know, we are, because we talked about identity before. For me, one of the big problem of the globalized world is, if you take the film industry, film is our dreams. You know, it structure our dreams. We like it or not. Our fears, our dreams, our fears, our feelings. Yeah. Okay? And if the world of tomorrow will be only structured by Hollywood, this will be a lack of democracy. Now, the Americans do a lot of beautiful film and a lot of shit, but the European the same. The problem is that if there is only one part of the world who are structuring the fear and the feeling and the dreams, then, you know, this multicultural world will fall apart. So Europe will have to find an answer to this, you know, to this, that under the umbrella of Europe, you know, the difference of culture and the richness of culture that we have in Europe, we have to defend it. Not that it stay like this, that it can improve. So I don't want to say I'm optimistic. I say I think this is the direction we have to fight for.
Dimitris Bouras, UIP New York, reporting today for Exodus Free Press in Thessaloniki. Sir, I heard you repeating several times the words proposal and debate. Several times today. Today, at the same time, we are observing several movements, political, economical, and social movements over the wider Balkan Peninsula. We're having Romania striving with IMF and austerity measures. At the same time, the Serbian government is eager in reaching a consensus agreement over the Kosovo dispute. I just returned back from a trip over 2 weeks in Turkey, traveling all over Turkey for covering the uprising, and I understood that in Turkey.
Yes, I didn't. Okay.
In Istanbul, Ankara, Eskişehir, and other territories, also in the Kurdistan, in Diyarbakir, I saw a society that is ready to make Yugoslavia look like a kindergarten playground. Mr. Erdogan is pushing over a new role of Turkey in the development of the new Middle East. So my question is, what is and when I say what is the European proposal over this issue in the Balkan and in the development of the new Middle East? Thank you.
Very easy, very easy. Well, first, you know, sometimes mistakes, you pay them very, very, very high. And the mistake of Europe to have stopped the real negotiation with Turkey, you pay it today. You pay, you know, in politics, you know, it's not like in a kindergarten, you know, where you play and then you lose or you win and you can start again. No. The problem that we have pushed Erdogan on the one side of his personality. He had different possibility, you know. And at the beginning, he was really a tool of democratization against the authoritarian Kemalism. And now he is really replacing by the authoritarian AK party, you know, trying to impose to his people a certain way of life, you know, like the Kemalists wanted to We had a discussion. We had invited in the European Parliament last week, a group from Taksim. And there was a young woman with a scarf. She was one of the militants of Taksim. And she was religious Muslim, she was Kurd. And she said to us, look, if this movement attacking Erdogan go back to the old Kemalist position, that a woman with scarf is not allowed to go to university, you will lose, because the people in Turkey, they say at the moment, let us live like we want, with scarf, with alcohol, with not. We want to decide for our life. This is, and this is Europe. Now I read a lot of commentary. Europe, Merkel should talk to Erdogan. Brussels should talk to Erdogan. Yes, but what to say? What to say? Because we pushed him away, and now we say, hey, behave good. So this is a real. No. The second problem is with the Balkan. The real contradiction in which we are is, of course, I could say, look, give to this country a European perspective with real safeguards. Say to the Serbs and to the rest, if you don't solve the Kosovo, it's no line. But the problem is that at the same time in Europe, because enlargement has grown so fast, and then you have the problem of Romania, the problem of Bulgaria, that a lot of people in Europe say one of our problems is enlargement. So you propose a solution what does make sense for Serbia, for Bosnia, like Bosnia. Look, what is the main problem of Bosnia? It's Dayton. We have to overcome the agreement of Dayton. Absolute artificial. No, Bosnia is not an artificial state. You could have one state, but you can't have a state separated in three. Yes. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, it's not a coherent, but if you would have a coherent Republican democratic framework. But you don't have it, For example, for long years in Bosnia, the foreign minister was a Jew. But he was not able to candidate for presidency, because to be president in Bosnia, you have to be or Muslim, or Catholic, or Orthodox. How do we want to integrate this in European Union? It's impossible. It's impossible. So, we have, now at the moment, we have to invent a form of associated partnership to give them a perspective with Europe without pretending that you will integrate them in the next 20 years. Because the problem is what the risk of integrating too fast is to destroy Europe. So you integrate something that you disintegrate. It's a contradiction, no?
Well, please. Okay, please, because Mr. Cohn Bendit is very, very tired and he has to give and discuss in national television things. I'm not saying that I'm going to warn you again, but it's going to be difficult over there too. A few questions from Twitter and we're releasing you also. And then his friends from the past and the future can sign if someone wants to buy a book or any of his books. Okay?
There's a question from Twitter. Do you think that there can be an alliance of pro-federal parties in the upcoming 2014 elections?
I think pro-federal parties should make an agreement to campaign not together, but an agreement to have a common platform of discussion. I don't think there will be an alliance of pro-federal parties. You will have the Liberals, the Greens, and others, but not one pro-federal party in the election.
Should we...
Okay. You made a reference to Spinelli. Now, Spinelli was a significant figure, and he was one of the architects of the European Union. I think it's quite notable that there has been no reference, apart from you, there has been no reference to Spinelli in the discussion today. The Spinelli group was reconstituted in 2009 as a means of trying to deal with the crisis of rising Euroscepticism and of what appeared to be the diminishing prospects for European integration. Now, Spinelli was a significant figure, but here in Greece he is even less known than he is in Europe. In Europe he is known to the political class. I was in the European Parliament recently, in the beginning of April, and I noticed there that he is an emblematic figure for the European political class. For the rest of Europe, perhaps with the exception of the Italians, he is not well known. Here in Greece, he is almost totally unknown. And I think if we are going to talk about a project...
It's true.
Yes.
In Greece, you know more Rehagen than Rehagen. You don't know Rehagen. You don't know Rehagen. Who brought Greece to the European Championship? It was a German.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. You know here. Okay.
In any case, what I'm saying is this. I haven't made my question. What I'm asking is if you have considered the idea of broadening the Spinelli initiative, because something similar has already started in the municipality of Aegina in 2008 and 2009. There were two conferences, Capodistrias Spinelli Europe, that were proposing exactly the ideas that you are putting forward, but in a way that is more assimilable to people in Greece. And I suggest that this initiative, the Capodistrias Spinelli initiative,
Please,
by the way, there's going to be a meeting next Sunday on it.
This is a speech, not a question. Make it so short.
Consider it and find out about it, because your idea of
Thank you.
much better prospects if you link up
Thank you.
with such a figure as Capodistria. Please consider it.
Okay, I do. I do.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you in Athens.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Well, here's some basic information.
Okay, thank you.